What is up, everybody? Good morning. Happy Wednesday. This is the morning show here on Stock Market TV. Spencer, Steve, JC, Alfonso with you this morning, as we are most every morning. A lot to talk about, as always, especially, in light of the not new bull market, but recent bull run. We have a bit of a pullback yesterday, but that's fine. Totally fine. A lot of things moving, gapping up today. I know the stocks on Steve's radar, like Rocket Lab and Spotify. Oh, maybe we'll talk Spirit Airlines. That's fun. Bankruptcy? No, not fun. I don't know. All right. We will definitely talk ETFs today. I can guarantee you that, because our guest is Eric Balchunas from Bloomberg Intelligence. He was on about, I think we had him around the time of the Bitcoin ETF launch, and a lot has changed since then. There's been a lot of really heavy inflows this year into ETFs, and we'll talk to them about that at 9. We'll have Kenny Glick join us. We'll have Mary join us. And what up, chat? CPI. Didn't even mention CPI. Totally whiffed on the CPI, but we're good there? Yeah? In line? Looks like, yes, in line. Cool. Let's do it. Smash the like. Here we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. So I sat courtside yesterday at the Knicks game, at the Knicks.
That's fun.
Sixers.
They won.
AI was there. AI was dressed in Knicks gear.
What?
Who else was there? Yeah, AI was there. That was pretty cool. I mean, it's AI, like the original AI.
The real AI.
The real AI.
He was in Knicks gear?
I couldn't tell you the last time I sat courtside at a basketball game because I have so many kids and I don't get out much. These guys are humongous. They are humongous. And Joel Embiid, it hurts me to watch him play.
Why?
He just looks like he's in so much pain, just like struggling down the court. It's bad, dude.
And angry.
Dude, angry, like depressed,
like
in chronic pain. Dude, it's bad. Like to the point where he's a professional basketball player and he can't even drive to the hoop. He has to shoot fadeaway threes. I'm like, bro, you're 7 feet tall, right?
It's not easy on those knees when you're that big.
And I'm not like talking shit. Like I legitimately feel for the guy. Like it.
No, I know.
I was sitting right there. Like you compare Towns, right? You compare Cat to Embiid, same body, same height, same everything.
Yeah.
Night and day.
One of them
is athletic.
Genetics,
one
man.
Can't even move.
Yeah.
Dude, it's bad.
Cat's been great for New York, huh?
Dude, what a stud. I mean, you knew he was a stud, but like when you put him next to Embiid, like, wow, the difference is like, one's a basketball player, one looks like an old man in a nursing home.
It's rare that the Knicks make the right move in the offseason. So this has been great so far.
And I hate Philly. I legitimately feel bad for Embiid. And by the way, you know how you hate Philadelphia, and I always tell you how good the food is? The lamb chops that I had last night may have been the best lamb chops of my entire life. I had like 15 of them.
All right.
Oh, they were so good, dude. They were so good.
It was not a bear market dinner.
It was not a bear market dinner. I had an irresponsible amount of lamb chops.
Great.
Love lamb.
Yeah, I love lamb. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the Dow futures up this morning 69 points, which represents about 16 basis points. S&P 500 futures 6,025, up about 0.25% this morning. NASDAQ 100 futures up 35 points. It's almost 20 basis points to 21,225. 30-year bond futures bouncing back today, up 0.5%, just under 117, with crude oil up 0.5%, just under 69. Copper flat at 414. Gold up 50 bips, just above 2,600. Silver up 1%, back above 31, with the volatility index back under 15. The VIX with a 14 handle once again. Bitcoin hanging on to those gains, 88,500 today. Ethereum down almost 2%, just under 3,200. Solana 209, down 1%. Binance down 2%, 613 with the total crypto market cap. Spencer Israel 2.87 trillion. Bitcoin dominance back above 60.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
Feeling good about it.
Are you?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I? Yesterday I was sort of going through the list of like interesting companies that are worth less than Dogecoin, right? And it's just funny, man. It's just so funny that like Dogecoin is worth more than like Ford Motor Company, right? Or like
Get ready for those tweets. Doge is bigger than tweets.
The Doge doesn't have to pay labor unions like a bunch of communists.
Yeah, the Dogecoin doesn't. It doesn't make anything. Whatever. It's not good or bad. It just is, right? So
they might not make anything that you like, but they make plenty of people smile. And isn't that good enough, Spencer?
That's all you need.
It's about to be a bull market, and we could ask Balchunas about this. It's about to be a bull market for the this crypto is bigger than this stock now tweets.
I mean, I tweeted about it yesterday. Delta Airlines, our largest airline company, our largest grocery chain, Kroger, Ford Motor Company, Lululemon. Yeah, it's funny, right?
Spencer Israel, can you put up slide 2, please? Because I think it's probably worth mentioning that Peanut the
Hershey.
squirrel.
I mentioned Hershey and Kraft Heinz. EA.
Nobody cares about those things, Spencer. Peanut the squirrel has now a market capitalization of 1.7 billion. This is fake news. An hour ago it was 1.5. It is now 1.7 billion in market cap. On Sunday, it was under 100 million. It is now $1.7 billion in market capitalization. It is officially the 57th largest cryptocurrency. Peanut the squirrel, $1.7 billion market capitalization. That is 17x from where it was about 48 hours ago.
This was the one that Nikki talked about, right?
No, it was not.
Oh,
this did not exist when Nikki came on our
live.
This is the one Trump was talking about. So
was it?
No.
No, this is a Peanut the squirrel.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, there was a squirrel that the Democrats killed, I guess. I don't know, something like that, right?
I confess not to even know the whole story. So it doesn't matter.
It was like the most famous squirrel in the world, Peanut. They just killed him for no reason. And so they created a meme token and is now worth 1.7 billion. No big deal.
Never gonna not be funny.
It's kind of nuts, isn't it?
I have a question for you.
I can't.
So I'm looking around at charts like Peanut the Squirrel, Arc Innovation, name any meme coin, right?
Fred the Raccoon.
Is it 2020 again?
No, it's 2024.
Right. Is it 2020 again?
What's the difference?
I don't know, Spencer. Things look a lot like 2020, and they're starting to feel a lot like 2022.
Maybe. I hope so. 2020 was the greatest 52-week period in the history of the United States stock market. So
Doge was up about 50,000% from its 2020 lows to first half of 2021.
Is that all?
Yeah. Maybe Peanut the Squirrel's next.
Why don't we talk about, with names like Peanut the Squirrel acting so well, money continues to rotate into the mega cap meme coins. Can you talk about what we're seeing in TradFi in this ARC innovation? Is it a similar story, you think? Are they related or no?
I think it's just impressive that these stocks are doing what they're doing for the past couple of weeks with interest rates doing what they're doing. It's one of those situations where it's like, if they're doing this with rates moving higher, what happens when rates, peak and roll over? So these stocks have joined the bull market party. They give you some of the best juice out there, period, right? These are the highest growth, most speculative names out there. And just across the board, JC, they're all working. Whether it's Roblox, the payment processors, look at the Base and Square. I mean, it's like every new day, the buy now, pay never We're buying them now. Like all of these names look so good. So I think this is the place to be right now. Speculative growth for the win.
Buy now, pay never. That's good business.
How long until we start discussing purchasing land in the metaverse on this show every morning?
Purchasing land in the metaverse?
Yeah.
I own enough real estate in the metaverse. I don't need to own more.
So how close are we to that time where those are all the headlines and JC's telling us about his NFTs and the CryptoPunks this and the apes that? That's where we're going. No?
I've actually never owned a Bored Ape. I had a mutant ape.
You're a punk guy. You're a dick butt. You're a dick butt guy. That's right.
I do have a bunch of dick butts, but CryptoPunks are up like 60% since the election.
That's it. When moon?
No. It's an underperformer. What can I tell you? Can you throw up, speaking of underperformance, can you throw up the new slide 5, please? So this is the underperformance from technology that I think keeps getting forgotten about. You know, you're looking at the large cap tech index relative to the S&P 500 underperforming for most of the year, right? Kind of just like a big sideways nothing. And, you know, look down below, look at small cap technology has been a massive underperformer, pushing down against new 3-year lows. So small cap tech, massive underperformer, large cap tech, you know, negative alpha for the year. And
this is such a great chart, JC.
You think this is good? Go to the next one. It's even better. Look at the next one. Kablam.
Yeah.
This is over the last month, dude.
We talked about this divergence.
This is serious divergence. So this is Bitcoin.
No, but this is a cleanup of the existing divergence, no?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's probably right. No, you're right. You know, technology did well, NASDAQ did well, and Bitcoin hadn't broken out yet. So now that's, you know, getting back, catching up. But look at small cap tech, large cap tech, semiconductors. Semiconductors actually down over the last month somehow, while Bitcoin absolutely mooning. And then the last one I wanted to bring up was slide 4 here, Spencer. This is the 2s 10s curve. This is the yield curve that looks like it's about to invert once again. So I'm sure that tell us that it means that a recession's coming. You know how the bear porn people love that kind of thing. You know, I find it hilarious that ever since the Fed decided to start lowering rates 2 months ago, rates have gone straight up. You know, that's pretty funny.
It's a natural polarity zone 0, you know.
Yeah. Supported 0. What do you think? Does this do the 2s catch up and exceed the 10s again or no?
I'm trying real hard not to overthink this. Regional banks are higher again this morning.
Yep. U.S. 10-year yield hitting new highs today as well. Well, maybe not today, yesterday.
Dollars lower.
Today?
Yeah.
Is it?
I'm looking at the ETF. It's down a little bit pre-market.
No.
Yeah, it's down a little bit.
It's pretty flat.
Yep.
Yeah, dollar index down 16 bips.
Fine. I bought
pretty flat.
Yeah. Shout out Spirit Airlines. Going to the stock market graveyard. Thank God.
I'm actually flying Spirit in a couple of months.
Dude, cancel it. Cancel it.
Dude, do not fly Spirit, man. Spencer, you're an important part of the team.
I haven't flown Spirit in a long time, but I have to fly around New Year's, and it's like very expensive. And I was like,
why are you flying around New Year's?
I have a wedding on like the 29th or something, or the 30th. I don't know. The
Very
30th,
inconvenient.
I know.
The first time you walk on a Spirit airline flight, and you're like, "Holy shit, what have I done?"
I think they have like chickens running around in
the
aisles.
Yeah, you walk onto that plane and you immediately do not feel safe.
I don't know. Yeah. It can't be any worse than Southwest, which is a total.
I think the whole plane rattles,
dude.
They charge you for like a water.
Goodbye, Spirit Airlines. See you in hell.
Good riddance. See you later.
No, it's not going away. They're just filing for bankruptcy.
Oh,
Come on.
I think
is
I
that
think
just,
it's
just regular operating procedure for airline companies?
Yes, this is totally normal. Delta, United, American, they've all filed. This
See
is
what happens with these unions, bro? They ruin everything.
this business is so worthless. They need to just kill it. But what did they announce? They announced a restructuring? No, bankruptcy.
no, they're exploring bankruptcy. Chapter 11.
Filed something.
When is Tesla going to start making airplanes?
I don't want Tesla to make airplanes.
I don't think
No?
we're there yet.
I don't think I want Tesla. Oh, shout out. Doge is real. They really did that. Can we just
What did
talk
they do?
about that real quick?
What did they do?
That's the news today, I guess. The Department of Government Efficiency. This is real. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a joke. This is now a
What
real.
does that have to do with Doge?
Because
It's called
DOGE.
Doge, dude. What doesn't it have to do with Doge? It's like the ultimate troll. It's run by Vivek
It's the
Ramaswamy.
Department of Government Efficiency, Doge.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
run by Vivek and Elon.
Real.
They're running the Doge department.
Dude, and the communist from Massachusetts is losing her shit. Did you see that? What's the lady who pretends she's Native American? What's her name?
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren. She is losing her shit. It's pretty funny to watch.
Haven't seen it.
Oh, hold on. What did she say? It was really good.
I'm
let's
sure it's
see.
fine. Whatever it is.
Let's see.
So
She says the Office of Government Efficiency is off to a great start with split leadership, 2 people to do the work of 1 person. This seems really efficient.
That's a nice troll. Actually, that's a nice troll. That's a
fantastic.
That's a nice troll.
I wonder if she has to pay labor unions people for them to write her tweets for her. You think?
Doubtful.
And so it's official. There will be like a crypto committee or council.
Dude, the fact that the acronym is Doge is ridiculous, dude.
It's
It's
fantastic.
ridiculous.
It's so good.
So good. At least, can we talk about something? At least people are having fun again. Like, like that's fun.
Yes.
Like, come on, like, that the company, what was it? Moms International, Hot Moms International. The fact that the ticker symbol wasn't MILF is like a sin. It's a sin.
It's not a bull
Ma.
market
It's a
yet.
sin, the hoof.
If they're not calling that thing MILF, it's not a bull market yet. We're not at the top, at least.
Some people just don't know how to have any fun. But clearly, Vivek and Elon are having a good time. Good for them.
Well, of
Whether
course
you
they
like
are.
the guys or you hate them is not the point. At least they're enjoying themselves. Like Embiid yesterday, he was not enjoying himself. He was not.
He's gross.
All right. Let's talk about markets actually for like 4 seconds today.
I bought Home Depot puts yesterday. Did you guys talk about earnings?
Home Depot.
Not in Home Depot we didn't, but you talked about it on Spaces, and I liked your logic, which was it was a good report and it didn't matter. And
Double
it
beat, upped guidance.
Yep.
First time in over 2 years.
Gapped up higher. Couldn't even hold the gains until the open. Actually, no, that's not true. It did. It held the gains till the open, and then gave it all back.
What strike puts did you buy?
Oh, I'm going real short, dude. I'm looking for just a fast move lower. It's a hedge. I'm very long right now, JC.
Yeah, no, I get it. I am too. I'm just, I didn't hedge with Sean on the banks. I'm not hedging now. I need more. I need more squirrel in my life.
I'm not buying cryptos here either.
You're not buying cryptos. What about
I'm
Fred?
in.
What about
in.
Fred the Beaver?
I don't want to hear about all that. You guys are going to get me on these degenerate platforms. What do they call them? They're DeFi platforms. It's very
No, you
dangerous.
don't need to go DeFi anymore. You could just go to spot.dog
Yeah.
and you could trade all your meme coins there.
Spot.dog. That's where
Yeah.
I should go put my money.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Yeah. Fuck. I'm telling you guys, I still haven't done it, Spencer. It will be the signal. I'll let everybody know.
No. We'll do it together, Steve. Because I
I'll
also
do it
haven't done it. But
my guy's coming over because the helium miner's fucking offline again. Like, we're there. Like, I'm so sure that we're back. Like, we're back.
every day I get closer. I'm inching closer every day. So
Fuck, man. We're next portfolio accelerator is going to be in the goddamn metaverse.
It's not a bad idea. No, but the tweets going out that, in the last cycle, real estate in the metaverse was going for more than real estate in New York
Very
City.
funny.
Like
Very
that, everything's relative. That's not happening.
Very funny, though. Great tweet.
Hilarious. It was so good. It was so good. Yeah.
All right, good. Great.
The other thing that stands out to me is the just how strong the energy stocks have been without crude oil. No,
Dude, I'm so frustrated with energy. Like
oil and gas specifically. Is it
Yes.
is it the new 6-month highs this week that you don't like? Which part of it that you're so frustrated with?
I'm in Exxon. I have exposure, but I'm in a lot less energy every passing month, quarter, year, and it's just been going on forever. This consolidation. I know they're telling me, oh, the leaders are breaking out. I've heard this 5 times over the past few years. So we'll see, I guess. CRK looks great. The Jerry Jones.
How about Newmont Mining with like a quick 20% haircut? 30% haircut?
And they say crypto's volatile. What's up, gold bugs?
Yeah,
gold bugs can't win. It's kind of too bad, you know. Like, dude, even when they're
Peter
winning.
Schiff, speaking of losing their shit, that Peter Schiff guy is he's going off the rails.
His Twitter's been hot. But even when they're winning, the gold bugs, it's like they can't be happy because it still doesn't look good with crypto doing what it's doing. You know what I mean? It's hard to be satisfied as a gold bug. And right now, at least over the past week, everything's moving higher and gold's moving lower. So that's a bummer. I own a lot of these things.
I'm really curious. Any thoughts on the yield curve? Before we bring in Kenny, let's overthink the yield curve for a second. Throw that one back up.
Okay. I really don't have any thoughts. Like, what's your take on it? You make such good points that it hasn't mattered. Why would it start mattering now?
No. That's why I wanted to bring it up to ask the question, because I don't necessarily have a good answer. I sent out a note this morning and I was like, why should it matter? And I said it doesn't. You know, I kind of asked the question and then I answered it by it doesn't matter. It'll matter. When it starts to matter, we'll know. If it ever starts to matter, we'll know. And then the CPI thing, like they're still doing that.
Dude, what are you talking about?
Perfectly in line, month over month, year over year.
Yeah, JC, give the economists their flowers. They nailed it.
I don't think so, but please, tell me more. How did the economists nail it? Nail what exactly?
So
once a month, the government releases inflation data, right? Consumer price index.
Going out once a month these days.
Hey, notice how none of this data is rocking the boat. Notice how the Fed didn't rock the boat. Notice how
that's right. That's it.
Notice how everything's just been really.
I don't know if you heard, but Strazza is very familiar with boats rocking heavily.
Too soon.
Too soon? All right.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. Not a conspiracy theorist, but things have been quiet out here. Government data.
Thank God. The CPI stuff is ridiculous.
So speaking of CPI, economic data, when I think of this chart, JC, I think of the unemployment rate.
Why?
Because it usually rises and falls with this.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole recession thing, right?
Recessions are a choice for most people.
And the unemployment rate is rising. Yeah. Overlay these two. It's wild. It's really wild. If I were an economist, I'd have more to say.
And why is that? Because higher unemployment is a good thing for the economy because unemployment is too low, so that's inflationary.
No, unemployment's not a good thing for the economy. But the labor market this tight, I don't love this. I don't love this. You could see it. You could feel it when you go out. Things are too good right now.
Yeah, I think they should just stop doing that CPI thing. I don't think that's right.
Like my FedEx man, spiking the packages on our porch these days because he doesn't give a shit. He'll get a new job with another sign-on bonus if they fire him.
Yeah,
you could see it.
Yeah, so he's spiking your packages like a football in the end zone.
Yep.
What could go wrong? Maybe he's upset he doesn't have the peanut.
No, we do. We have a rogue delivery guy. It's funny.
These economists, I also feel bad for them. They're like the Joel Embiid of finance. Like it's just sad state of affairs. Is Kenny coming in today?
Kenny's coming in, and he's not going to talk about the economy. You happy?
You think he'll be talking about Peanut the squirrel?
I want to hear him talk about the Space Mobile Station. You guys see the Rocket Lab? You see the Rocket Lab?
I'm sure, Kenny. I would bet Peanut the squirrel that Kenny has seen Rocket Lab this morning. Yes.
So Louis, we were in Chicago when? September something. I bought this stock. literally, we were all sitting in a room together, and Louis starts talking about this New Zealand-based, which JC demanded was not New Zealand-based, space company that competes with SpaceX, right? These guys launch rockets.
All right, Kenny.
Did you know that the Bushwhackers were from New Zealand?
Can I finish my story? This is great.
It's great. I'm just bringing Kenny straight on. Forgot the intro. Kenny, you're here. What's up?
Do we have
Kenny? Kenny's on mute.
No, he's not.
On mute.
Oh, yes, he is.
It's the first timer, Kenny.
Shit.
No, he's on mute.
Kenny, we can't hear you.
Can't hear him. See you later, Kenny. You're out.
Wait.
What's up, y'all?
Oh, just a bull market. No big deal.
That's right. It's all about moons, all about space. It's still about space, rockets, and moon, and all that stuff. What's going on?
Nothing. I'm going to. I'm sitting courtside at basketball games for teams I don't even like. I mean that.
Listen,
that's
man.
What's happening over here?
What were you talking about? Something about squirrels? What was that story with the squirrel? I missed that.
Peanut the squirrel. Meme coin was at under 100 million on Sunday. It is now 1.7 billion market cap.
Get the hell out of here! Really?
Nope.
Squirrel coin.
Yeah, it's real.
And then check out Fred. Fred the beaver. Fred the raccoon. What's the difference between a raccoon and a beaver?
I don't know. Is there a joke there?
Kenny, have you ever like gone deep and started trading these shit coins? You don't touch these?
No, I've been in. I was in before. I mean, I've told the story 1,000 times. The guy that got me into Bitcoin explained all this stuff to me. Actually, I went to a Ripple symposium, if you could believe that, in 2018. So I sat through this stuff as my man tried to convince me. He was just living. He was in Bitcoin from 300. He had the Facebook IPO. He was set, and this kid just showed up at my house, and he tried to explain to me all these little coins. And I got some Ripple. I bought some, Tron at the time. And then there was the one called Doggy Coin. And he's like, no, that one's stupid. I was like, what makes that one stupid opposed to the other three that you just wanted me to buy? He's like, the guy invented it because he just got a dog. I'm like, so did I. I'm in. So I've been in Doggy Coin since, sub-zero. And, I got a little carried away too with Elon Musk back in, I think it was 2019, where it actually ran to like 75 cents. So I'm still in it. And I bought more. Again, Elon Musk is going to be the next president or emperor of the world.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Why not get his coin that he's going to control the world with? So Doggy Coin to the moon, everything to the moon.
That fundamental analysis that you just did, that's all you need for crypto. That's it. That's the
well
bullish
done,
thesis.
Kenny. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, Bitcoin is like a popularity contest in grammar school. That's what it is. That's all it is.
But you hung out with like the Ripple folks. That's a hardcore community. The Ripple guys, right?
They explained to me. I remember it was frictionless currency, and actually, what was explained to me, and it really made sense at the time. Whereas the app builders who would get paid per download instead of doing bank transactions, now they can get paid instantaneously through this frictionless currency. I'm like, this is starting to make sense to me. Wait a second, I'm in. But I said, why would the coin make any difference what it's valued? Because the transactions have nothing to do with the coin. And then the guy said, just buy the coin. I was like, yes, all right, let's go.
Yeah,
I'm in.
That's how to do it. Kenny, speaking of mooning and space and whatnot, that theme continues to work. New highs across the board yesterday.
Yes. Lunar's the one. Lunar is the one that just came out of Andy Dufresne, and it's running. So LUNR.
Yep.
The only thing that's anything that you got to be nervous about is that there's earnings and a launch coming. I haven't read the news today, but we're still in the name, playing it only with options just in case something explodes or the earnings are bad. But so far, so good on Lunar. But yeah, you're talking about Rocket Labs. These are all the same stocks we've been watching for the last couple of weeks, couple of months. Obviously, ASTS and all that. But the trend continues. And inevitably, they're going to invent new stocks, ones we never heard of. It's going to be something space, AI. They're going to create a symbol that just once we get to that point, you'll know then maybe there's a short-term top, because there is no top. There is no spoon. We're in the matrix. Let's keep this bull market going.
But Kenny, these space stocks are crazy hot. It's like every day there's a new space stock.
There is.
Yeah. You think that's an Elon thing? Because, he's the emperor or whatever, or is it or is there something else going on? Is it
Everything that we're talking about is absolutely tied it together. So, I mean, I'm totally with you, and I'm just going to keep playing the trends. I mean, the trend is your friend right now. And again, just like betting against the Jets, 52 years is a trend. So, again, Elon made me money, in Tesla. He made me money back when Doggy Coin was Doge or whatever. So here we go, back in the, whatever's moving. But what's fun? Buying bankrupt airlines. That's fun too, because
is that what we're doing?
Yeah, look at this move today. So save. Everybody's been trading this stock.
If you
owned it, you got smoked. We bought it. I bought it. I traded it last night on the awful news, and then it had a decent little bounce there for a second.
Wait, you're buying this piece of shit right now?
Well, bought it already, wow. Past tense. But look, if you give me a stock that's under $1 and it breaks VWAP and it breaks $1, that usually triggers algorithms to start covering some shorts.
You don't worry on something like this. It's like a halt and a press release away from being down 50%.
I do think that, but it's already down so much. And again, that's why the Lunar's a little frightening also.
Got it.
But yeah, I mean, trading stocks like BTBT yesterday was just ridiculous. That kept getting halted. So yeah, I mean, we know what we're getting ourselves into, but at least this one, you got tremendous volume. The bad news is already out there. So at $1, you give it a shot. You make 25 cents, it's 25% return in 40 minutes. So again, when you put it in percentages, it's like you did something amazing. But again, we're out of that one. But back to the Rocket Lab, this one is the opposite. Looking for a reason to fade it. There's that VWAP break, and you got down. And right now, it's kind of faux show broing. So be careful on the short on this one. But yeah, there's just, again, this is the greatest time to be a trader, because there's so much activity pre-market. There's so much activity at the open. And there's pretty much a nonstop extravaganza of activity all throughout the day. We have only about an hour of downtime now, and then it picks right back up at 3 o'clock. So, man, it's just an amazing to behold this, and showing people some new tricks on the VWAP and trading all these crazy names. As long as you know where your entries are and what the risks are. And again, with the halts, like you said, it can get a little bit more dangerous because you can't control the halt. But if you do have a good platform, it warns you 5 seconds before a stock gets halted. So you have a 5-second countdown where you give you a moment to just get out if you have a good platform. So get the better platform if you're going to trade live.
This is something we talk about a lot. You get more aggressive, right? And change up your tactics and strategies based on the environment.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm starting to, somebody pointed out, if I'm starting to swing trade, it might be the end of the bull market. And that usually is true, because I tend to get the fear of missing out. And again, thankfully, the Glicks own the cues from basically inception, so that cures the fear of missing out. But I got to tell you, when everything's ripping higher, I tend to, I want to just join in even more and hold some stocks. That usually gets me in trouble. So it's getting a little bit hard to stay focused, but it is what it is,
Yep. I've been finding myself doing things I don't usually do.
Yeah.
Buying stocks ahead of earnings reports.
No.
Did it yesterday again.
No. But
I just want to say one more thing before we let Kenny go. I don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong with pressing some bets, especially when you got some P&L.
Go for it.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Know what you're doing going in. Know that, you could blow that particular money up by pressing too hard. Know that, but there are times to press. There's no question.
Right. I mean, listen, the earnings season is still phenomenal. I mean, and you don't have to buy. I mean, so far, anything I've bought before options. And again, the PayPal, it's been a good trade. But if you bought the options that week into the report, you lost. And they basically held the stock back for options expiration. And then it resumed its, trajectory to the upside. And that's on purpose. The market's out to try to not help you make money. But you come in after a company reports after the fact. And here you got Mara. Again, I never trade this stock. I never look at it. I'm confused about these weird internet trackers, the Riots, the Maras, those other ones. But you give me a little VWAP break and a consolidation above VWAP and a liftoff, I'm in. So there you go. I mean, this stock was a nice little buy right here. This is just consolidation above the VWAP, and then it breaks. And then there's your orange line, blue to orange. It just works. So again, trading after the earnings come out is where the real money's made, because especially if you're an options trader, now you're buying those options that are down 80, 90% from the night before. And if you get that same move, now you're doubling and tripling your money where other people are just breaking even.
Hold on, Kenny, did you see him dig in at the VWAP anchored from the post-election gap yesterday?
On which stocks? Just the entire market?
SPY and Qs.
Oh, yeah.
Right there, bang, ripped right off it.
That's a big anchor point. Those election levels.
Yeah.
For a lot of those anchored VWAPs, that's the level. No question.
I know this sounds funny, but we've been doing this generational lows. Right now, November 3rd is generational lows, or whatever the day was before the election. We may never go back below that price. And again, it's hard for the bears to deal with that. I know I'm one, but listen, when somebody said to me the other day, we had this conversation, who's buying stocks up here? And I said, who's not? Who's not buying stocks up here? You have to buy. You're not going to get the dip that everybody's wishing for. And when the dip comes, it'll scare the new money out, and then the dip will be bought. It's the same thing over and over again. You got to buy high, sell high. That's the name of the game. So until that stops, then it is what it is. My friends, good luck. I'll see you tomorrow.
Adios, Kenny.
All right. We've kept our guests waiting, and I want to bring them on because it's going to be a good conversation. So Eric Balchunas is here from Bloomberg. Let's get him on and talk ETFs.
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Eric, how are you?
Good morning.
Good. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Great to have you here. This is a subject that is near and dear to my heart. I'm very fascinated by a lot of things happening, and I don't know anybody who's more informed on the space than you. So this is
real fast though. JC, where'd you eat last night?
I ate at Prime Rib in the casino there next to I went to the Knicks Sixers game. It was good.
Oh, well, not if you live in Philly.
If you live in Philly, then you don't eat there?
No. Didn't the Knicks win?
Oh, I don't even know. I don't care. I was hoping they both lost, actually. I was just just there hanging out with like Jeremy Schwartz and Josh Brown and Batnick and these guys. I was just there having a good time. Yeah, I had no horse in the race. I was I was ready for the game to end so we can go back to the casino, actually.
Yeah, understood. But I mean, you've probably been trained to not care because they've sucked for so long, but they're actually pretty good. And they got the Sixers number. They could go to the finals this year.
I got to tell you though, the lamb chops that I had at Prime Rib there, woo, they weren't. And I'm not sheltered. I've had a lamb chop or two in my day, but man, I don't know if I was starving. They were so good. Eric, school us. Tell us what's happening. Last time you were on, these Bitcoin ETFs were relatively new launches. Money was plowing in. Can you update us on where we are on all of this?
Slide 10, please, Alfonso.
This is really something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I was trying to think of a sports metaphor. I think Tiger Woods in '96 isn't enough. Michael Jordan rookie year, not enough.
Wow.
Michael Phelps, I think, might be up there. Usain Bolt, I'm not sure. But think about this. This is a chart showing that IBIT is now at $40 billion. And it got there in 211 trading days. That is the fastest ETF in history to get to that mark. The second fastest is IEMG at 1,253 days. So this is like 5 times faster to 40 billion than any other ETF. And if you look at the lines on the right there, it's IEFA, IMG, and VU. All 3 of those ETFs are super studs today. So if you're even anywhere near in the top 10 of this list, you have a very bright future, let alone crushing the studs, the now studs. So IBIT, obviously, just a bright future. I mean, I don't know, unless there's some kind of super black swan that derails it. I think that even little pullbacks, it has shown resilience. I think it'll just keep growing. So we have a note coming out tomorrow. We think that Bitcoin will triple gold assets. Right now, they are at about 95 billion. Gold has 128 billion. So they could pass gold by their first year. We thought it would take 3 to 4 years. Now we're saying 3 to 4 years, they'll probably have triple. And the reason is I've come to my take on Bitcoin I've come around a lot. What I think it is it's a twofer. It's a store of value. So if you have any worry about currency debasement, unless you're totally politically brained on one side, you have to acknowledge there's currency debasement going on. And if you want to hedge your portfolio and increase your real returns, gold or Bitcoin is good for that. But unlike gold, Bitcoin is much way out on the risk return spectrum. So it can play the role of hot sauce. Gold is boring. It's 4,000 years old. It barely moves. But Bitcoin is like 16 years old. It's like gold as a teenager. It's very volatile. And right now, hot sauce is in high demand from portfolios because many people have just taken their core and like married Vanguard. And now they want like 10, 15% to speculate and do some fun things with stuff that's completely different than beta. And so Bitcoin kind of fits as a hot sauce and a store of value. And I think that's why it's taking off. And I think that's why it's going to pass gold.
But there are a lot of hot sauce options out there. It just
There
this
are.
one seems
Yeah,
to be
we got to go Cholula or Frank's. That's the way to do it. Cholula for breakfast, Frank's for dinner. That's how that works.
okay.
I've thought about this a lot. I'm friends with a lot of Mexicans. I've thought about this. Eric, can I ask you this? When it comes to Bitcoin, are the ETF approvals and the launches helping bring in AUM that then drives the price of Bitcoin? Or do you think it's more Bitcoin is ripping, people are looking for exposure, and the ETF gives them the ability to participate? Is it both? What do you think? How do you think about that?
I would say those two things are in like a tango together because a lot of the gains happen overnight. I think the Asian market and all the people trading those crazy derivatives that are legal over there, they see what happens with the flows and they start going wild. So I think the flows spark some of the trading and vice versa. But what's been interesting is that there has been some days where the price of Bitcoin sells off like 15, 20%. And the ETFs will, they'll see a little bit of flows, but they'll hang tough. And that's a good sign. And then in other periods, you might see the flows come in rip roaring, but the price is flat. And I think that just speaks to the fact that right now the Bitcoin ETFs own about 6% of all the Bitcoin. So they are still minority players. But narrative wise, they're the big story until Trump came along. I think, it was really the ETFs for 8-9 months there. I think Trump is like the big catalyst now. And I like that. I didn't ever feel comfortable with the ETFs being the only catalyst. I think the ETFs are merely a format or portal to get Bitcoin. They're, in my opinion, they're almost like a better version of an exchange. They're just cheap, easy, frictionless, liquid. They just bring it all. But they're not Bitcoin itself. You need other narratives, I think, to help drive the price ultimately. But to be honest, what is really important that if I tell the Bitcoin people when they get frustrated sometimes or whatever, I'm like, just the thing to focus on here is BlackRock, Fidelity, their army of wholesalers, Larry Fink on CNBC saying this is good for the portfolio. You can't overstate how massive that is for regular people because all they think of is FTX, maybe Michael Saylor, some of the, maybe their crazy cousin who had Bitcoin. Like Larry is like Mr. Mainstream, and so is Fidelity, and these are brand names. So this gives them amazing cover to go in and be like, yeah, this is a smart allocation. It's got iShares on the label. You can't get fired for buying an iShares ETF if you're an advisor. So I just think ultimately that's the big deal here. And I think there'll be, as I said, over this 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I think sometimes during the 1 step back, the Bitcoin people get too emotional. I think they got to look at the 5-year chart more often than the 1-day chart.
I think
but it's ultimately right now we're in a 2 step, maybe 3 steps forward phase, and everybody's happy.
Eric, there was one day a few months back where IBIT didn't have a certain amount of inflows, or maybe even had outflows over and you were saying that people were like freaking out, and it was like, calm down. Right.
Well, then people started to speculate that the Bitcoin wasn't actually a Coinbase, and Coinbase had sold the Bitcoin and replaced it with IOUs. And
wonderful.
So just for kicks, I went on an investigative mission, and that is not the case. You got to understand, like, there's a lot of legal stuff going on here. Like BlackRock can't do that. Coinbase can't do that. It would be against the law. And also it would be against everybody's public relations judgment. I mean, BlackRock has 1,000 ETFs globally. They operate in like 25 countries. Larry Fink's got a lot going on. Okay. This is one tiny part of his empire. He's not going to risk his whole thing because of this. Like if it was known that Bitcoin wasn't there or something, it would tarnish the whole BlackRock brand. So there's a multitude of reasons why that would just be dumb and it's illegal. This brings me back to the point of an ETF. With an ETF, you get cheap, frictionless liquid plus safe. You know, those are a lot. You know, you look at the prospectuses of these ETFs, they're 150 pages. There's all kinds of, you need a board, you got this, administrator, transfer agent. There's a lot of checks and balances in the process. And so that's why I think the ETF is the ultimate vehicle. Unlike tokens, which aren't regulated and you got to call the FBI if you have a problem, ETFs, you get all of the frictionless, low cost liquidity, but with all of the sort of safeguards that you have with a 1933 or 1940 Act issued ETF. So I think these are just going to dominate the landscape for a while.
And then Eric, when are I saw the options for the Bitcoin ETFs got approved. When do they actually start trading?
So I don't know. I'm hearing good things though, that the CFTC will approve them, and we don't know yet. We think short term, but not immediate term. So, you know, now the holidays are kicking in. So we think there's a good chance it'll be by the end of the year, but
Nice.
almost definitely by Q1. So I would just be, you know, you'll wake up one day and you'll see a tweet from me or an article on one of the Bloomberg or something that'll say that options are launching in 3 days. And you'll be like, great, but it'll happen soon.
What about some of the other stuff like Doge is hitting 60 billion in market cap? Should we expect like a Doge ETF? What about some of the other ones down the cap scale? Like, you know, no joking aside, like legit.
Yeah. Well, look, now that Trump won, Pandora's box is officially open. Okay. So they've already got 4 alternative coins filed: XRP, Solana, Litecoin, and this I've already HBAR. I had to look up what it was. That's how deep we're getting. And I think Doge will be filed. I always say there's a certain window between sarcasm and the actual ETF. So Doge was thrown out as a ridiculous idea about 18 months ago. And I'm telling you, the ETF industry, to a degree, doesn't really have any shame. And frankly, if you're out first, even with something small, you know, and you get $100 million, $300 million, and you charge 80 basis points, you're making money. So there's going to be probably somebody who's like, why not? So I do think we'll get some crazy filings. Now, where does the SEC, even under Trump, draw the line? I don't know. Like, which one would be too silly to put it into an ETF? That is unknown because we don't know who the SEC chair will be. Some of them think that you need futures to actually have the ETF. However, that's not a law. That's just Gensler's interpretation of the law. So a new chairman could be like, you don't need that. And then further in Europe, 21 Shares has all kinds of stuff ETFized. They have coins that I never even heard of, and they work fine. You know, so the incubator in Europe has shown you could wrap up almost anything, but there will be a line drawn. I just don't know what the logic will be yet or anything like that. But I would say be cautiously optimistic that you'll see alternative coins in ETF format in 2025.
Eric, what is sillier in your head? Altcoin ETFs or single stock leverage ETFs?
To me,
Good
again,
question, Spencer.
See, to me, these are all forms of hot sauce. These are things to kind of like speculate, make your juices flow, give you some entertainment while you wait for the serious part of your portfolio to compound over 30 years. And so I'm fine with all of it. I wouldn't put your whole portfolio in any of this stuff. That's where I'd be like, that's dumb. But, you know, if it's a small allocation and you're trading with it, look, I mean, if you think about it, if you're trading, like I saw you guys talking about charts earlier, and you really have a strong conviction on NVIDIA, like you think their earnings are going to crush, why not buy 2x? Now, if you guys know how to use leverage, you don't need it. But there's a lot of people who'd rather just click one button and be 2x'd than deal with leverage. Inversely, you can buy an inverse NVIDIA if you think they're going to tank. And there's people who'd rather click a button than like short a stock. So in a way, a lot of that is just, again, all ETFs at the end of the day, you could do what they do, but they're just more convenient. And so convenience is really all that's happening here. So I think, you know, that they're equal, in my opinion, altcoins versus single stock ETFs. Now, Bitcoin, though, in my opinion, is special. I do separate them. I'm not a maxi or anything, but I just think Bitcoin has that special gold-like quality that you don't get in the other coins. And that's why I think it'll dominate this category, probably 80-90% of the assets.
Eric, zooming outside of cryptocurrencies, can you update us on total ETF assets as a percentage of total United States stock market cap, global market cap? Is it fair to compare it to global market cap? Like, how do you think about that?
Well, let's just do US. So ETFs have 10.4 trillion. Now, what maybe 7-8 trillion of that is equity ETFs that own, and then maybe 6 trillion of that is US equity ETFs. So 6 trillion is, I think, I want to say 8% of the total US stock market. So equity ETFs own 8% of US stocks. But that number is like doubled in the past, 5-10 years. And so that number will continue to grow. But at 8-9%, they're still much a minority owner. We definitely have to sometimes pull that number out because people get all crazy. ETFs are the tail wagging the dog and all this.
Yeah.
But like, quote, households own 40% of the stock market. That would be like guys like you, people who buy the stocks directly, people who like have owned IBM for 40 years. That's a household. They will always dominate. Then you've got foreign institutions, US institutions. You've got corporations own stock directly. You've got, I forget what I'm missing, one biggie here. And then you've got mutual funds and ETFs. So there's a lot of owners of stocks. But occasionally there is a situation where a middle or small cap stock will get largely owned by an ETF. For example, there's one now called Central Garden. So I never heard of it. Central Pet and Garden. CENT is the ticker. 58% of its shares are owned by, quote, passive. So that would be like almost all that number is ETFs. Why? Well, there's this ETF called CAF, which is a small cap cash flow ETF, and it sorts and it weights by yield. Long story short, the way the weighting works, this stock is giving off a shit ton of cash flow yield. So it's a top weighting. And all the advisors in America piled into CAF because they love this.
The advisors love that ETF.
They love it. So this is a case of a small fish in a small pond accidentally getting big. So occasionally you have a quirky situation where it's a small pond like Central Garden and there's a big ETF fish. But what'll happen is eventually the index will change and that number will come back down. It's like a temporary heating up of the ownership. But look, the average stock you're going to see 8, 9, 10% owned by ETFs. And like I said, and many of those ETFs do different things. Some will be market cap weighted, some will be smart beta. So I'm fine with it. And I don't know if you're getting at the whole, like, is the stock market losing fundamentals because ETFs own too much question, but I'm a big eye test guy. You look at a stock like NVIDIA, it was like 350th in the S&P 6 years ago, and now it's second. Well, how'd that happen? Well, because Active likes it. Active started buying it back in the day, and it got bigger, and so it got bigger weighting in the index. And Tesla was number 3 or 4. It got booted down. Now it's coming back up. But at the end of the day, passive is merely a reflection of what active thinks of stocks. So as long as stocks go up and down in dramatic fashion after earnings, before earnings, I'm fine with the passive, part of the market. Now, if stocks just stop moving, and they just look numb and like frozen, we got to look into that. So, but at this point, passive, again, riding the back seat, active's driving.
Also, CENT is down like 5% year to date. Like, not exactly. Just because ETFs own a lot of this thing doesn't mean anything for the
and
price.
On the flip side, there's people who go, oh, I want to invest outside the passive bubble. So we have a list of stocks that have very low passive ownership. Like I'm talking like less than 1%. And we look at those and they're really one of two situations. One, they're either a new IPO, which again can be very risky to bet in, but FYI, that's true. You could look at that. But the other one is they're just shitty stocks. Why are they owned 1% by passive? Well, because active hates them. Active has sold them and shorted them and shorted them. So if you buy a stock outside of the quote passive bubble, you're buying active's rejects. Now, maybe one of them is just been missed by every active manager in the world, but I would be very careful shopping in that junk drawer. So again, this is why I think investing is tricky. active managers have to adjust to many things. Now, passive is one. I do think if a stock gets bigger and then passive flows add to it, it can be a slight amplification device. And if a stock gets sold off, like Tesla recently when it got, sold off, the index funds are continuing to see inflows. They will actually put a little bit of a floor on that sell-off. So in a way, they add a slight buffer to a stock going down the tubes, and they might amplify a bit a stock that's on the rise, like a NVIDIA. But largely speaking, active is determining the passive ingredients.
That's really fascinating. Is there a number where you would start to say this is getting a little much in terms of the percentage of U.S. stock market cap that's owned by ETFs? Is it 20%, 25, 30? Like,
look, I'm a boglehead. I interviewed him many times before he passed away. Wrote a book about it, and I'm with him. He was about 75% could be owned by passive.
Wow.
Yeah.
75%.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that can almost never happen, because if funds only own 40% of the market, even if all that's passive, that's still only 40%. Okay, then you can say, well, institutional investors might be using separate accounts to go passive. Okay, let's go up to 50. See, it gets really tough to even think about getting to 75%. The other thing is, if we get to 50% or something like that, it's going to make stocks more volatile, which should create more active winners. Because if passive people never sell, they're like a blob. So it's almost like when a passive fund buys a stock, it decreases the informal float. So you tend to have stocks that are highly owned by passive should become more volatile because there's just less people trading them. So I do think you'll ultimately find winners from the active side who wow us all. The other thing that's going on that's going to stop that rise of passive is that active managers are finally getting cheap. They're finally just beta adjusting their fees. So if an active manager like DFA or Capital Group has a lot of S&P looking stocks in there, they cannot sell that fund until they move their fee down to account for the low active share. So for example, like Avantis DFA, like their fees are like between 10 and 20 basis points now. Capital Group is like 35. And I think advisors are like okay to that. They're like, I'm okay. I kind of want some active. I appreciate it, but I don't want to pay for beta because I can get beta for free. So in a way, it's the equivalent of like just charging people for the amount of active. So ARK is a good example. They're 75 basis points, but they're 98% active share. So we have this thing called the beta adjusted fee demarcation line. And really, if you look, if you're basically, you have to be cheap or shiny. And if you are have a lot of S&P 500 stocks, like an old school 90s or 80s active manager, and you have low tracking error, you kind of have to lower your fee, but they are. And so advisors are finally starting to bite on those funds. So I do think active is going to start to come back after it goes through the crucible of beta adjusting their fees and evolving into some neat places. Like JEPI is the biggest active equity ETF, and it's covered call. So you'll see like a lot more legwork being put into active, like buffer ETFs, which use options to target outcome, or JEPI, dividend strategies. So, and smart beta to me, which is an index fund that you basically tweak. So you basically have it weight towards dividends or fundamentals. Smart beta is active. It's just rules based. So in a way, active is thriving. It's doing fine. And it will ultimately find audiences, especially as its fee become more competitive to beta and index funds.
I have one more. Sorry, Spencer. Spencer gets. I take all the questions.
I have one more, and then we'll let Eric run.
All right. I wanted to talk about. We have to talk about the commodity ETFs and the lack thereof. Really. You laugh.
No, I like this. People don't ask about this much.
Well, you come to the right place. We're not messing around, Eric. Right? Like this isn't some Mickey Mouse operation here. We are very serious.
You want to talk about the nickel ETN? All right, let's do it.
No, I mean, listen, you've got the way I learned it, Eric, back in the day, I'm old school. I learned it that there were three asset classes. You have stocks, you have bonds, and you have commodities, right? The kids these days, they don't know about that third one, right? But you and I know. So
sure.
What's up with that? When there's an ETF for all the commodities, that's the end of the commodity super cycle. Like, how are you thinking about the lack of opportunities there?
Well, let me ask you, when you say commodities, we including gold, precious metals?
Well, those already exist. So I would say I would exclude that. Maybe you got the crude oil ETF. Like you got a few already, but it's not much. I mean, what's the AUM in commodity ETF? Even if you include those as a percentage of total ETF AUM, nothing, right?
Yeah, 1.5%.
Boom.
Yeah, and that's including gold. If you take gold out, you're like at 0.3%. Here's why, though. The problem with commodities that aren't precious metals is you can't store them. So the roll costs of the ETF, because they have to continue rolling futures, it really can F you up, man. I mean, I've saw
Look
one
at,
year
look
where
at UNG, right?
yeah, UNG is a great example. You could get the bet right, and natural gas is up 30%, and you get nothing.
Yep.
Because the roll costs ate you up. So I always say, like, we have a ETF, like we have movie ratings for ETFs, and all of the commodity rollers are R. They are rated R products. We're not saying don't use them. We're just saying, like, you shouldn't bring like a 10-year-old to this movie. Like, you got to understand what contango is. And most people don't, because whenever oil goes up, like, it hasn't happened lately, but like there was 2 times back in the past 15 years when oil was real low. And even my college friends were like, I'm going to buy the USO. And I realized they don't know what the hell contango is. Like, they don't know, then there was ones that came out to try to curb contango and pick the spots, but they didn't do that great. And then, so I sometimes just recommend buying like the oil producer stocks like XOP, because that will have a lot of kick, and it will have a lot of sensitivity to oil, more than XLE. But it won't have any of the contango. But then you're buying stocks, not the commodity. So it's tricky. I just think, like, if you are going to play in the commodity space, I would trade it. But the reason commodities haven't done that great also, I think, is the same reason alternatives, there's a lot of hedge fund type ETFs, they haven't done that great either, is because if the S&P is going to give you like 25% a year, who the hell needs to mess around with anything else? So stocks have been so good. I think you need commodities to kind of have like a 2 or 3 year regime, like where they rule the land. And then I think you're going to start to see them being like more part of a portfolio. But just, every now and then one has a crazy breakout. Like, I think coffee went on this crazy run.
Yeah.
I mean, the volume goes up a little, but you can tell, like, the Advisors of America don't care. I think a lot of them, to your point, were burned on UNG or one of those back in the day, and they're like, I'm not touching that crap again.
But you're not saying that there won't be more commodity ETFs. You're saying there probably will, right?
Yeah, like, well, for example, like there's nickel, coffee, corn. They kind of cover them all. They even try to. By the way, you'll love this one. They tried a breakfast ETF that was pork bellies, orange juice. It was like the Trading Places. We call it the Trading Places ETF. But it failed.
No.
Nobody cared. But they've tried occasionally to push the envelope. I think the next big idea is a yellow cake uranium straight up commodity ETF.
Yeah.
They have one in Canada. The SEC punted on 2 tries, but with this new SEC, more liberal, has to purse maybe, you could see a physical uranium ETF. That could be amazing.
Yeah. No, that's a great call.
Plus, you can store that. There would be no futures.
Because the futures are so illiquid. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Eric,
well,
I just want to say it's not very often that we have a guest on, and I've actually read their book, because there's a lot of books that I don't have time to read. So, Bull Effect, great read. If you don't have it, get it. It was quick. It was like a short book, right? It didn't take very long, but it was great. A lot of good stuff here. If you like ETFs, you like Vanguard, you like the story, check it out.
I'm gonna go get it right now.
Yeah, Eric, thanks a lot, man.
I appreciate that. Good talking to you as always.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Eric, such a pleasure. This is so great. I love it.
All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Dude, he's
I
the
stayed
man.
for a long time.
How good is that?
Yeah.
I have so many questions for him. We could have done this all night.
I have 15 more. What I really wanted to ask him was what is his favorite recent example of hot sauce a hot sauce ETF. I thought he might say the Tom Lee fund, the Granny Shots ETF, which is doing pretty well for itself. But
what's the ticker symbol? What's the ticker symbol?
Oh God, I don't know. Wait, if Eric's still here, he can pop in the chat.
GRNY.
GRNY, is that it? Yeah, that's it.
Should have asked him about SRUUF. I think it's a trust. It's a little bit weird.
He says he would have said MSTU or MSTX. 2X MicroStrategy. Whoa!
That is some junky stuff right
That
there.
is
Dude.
insane. 2x MicroStrategy.
That's the most volatile?
No, just most interesting
Yeah,
like example of hot sauce.
Yeah,
It's the ghost pepper.
that's real hot.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, Bitcoin above 90, guys.
They have 300 million in the ETF, the Granny Shots ETF. It's not nothing.
No, they just launched.
They just launched. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, Bitcoin above 90. That's interesting. Yeah.
Is it interesting?
What's interesting about asset prices trending in the direction that they've been trending in?
New all-time highs are fun. I don't know how to answer that, but
What did we say more than anything about the likely election reaction? In the broadest terms, we said it would probably simply occur in the direction of the underlying trend for all of these things.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta err in that direction. Bitcoin actually got above 91,000.
SAT word. Shout out frictionless. Word of the day.
Shout out Peanut the Squirrel. When is the Peanut the Squirrel ETF coming out? Peanut the Squirrel just lost $150 million in market cap during the show. That's
if anybody watching has a friend or relative named Dave,
so
you should text him.
Throw it up.
Oh,
Spencer.
let's talk about the Dave. Also, shout out Robinhood is apparently adding a bunch of these things to their platform. Is that right?
Which things?
These cryptos. Like I could buy Pepe the frog on the hood. I could buy the Pepe on the hood now. Is that right?
Oh, now he wants to buy Pepe.
You can buy Pepe on the hood. That's a real sentence.
Can I buy the Pepe?
That's a real sentence. By a
if
true
I can buy the Pepe on the hood, I'm gonna find out as soon as the show ends, and I'm doing it. So that's the point of the cycle we're at.
That's not the point because Pepe is essentially this generation's blue chip meme token. You got it until they start bringing in the dog with hats and the pop cats.
Stop it.
Pepe might as well be like Apple or Microsoft. Like it's just a household name at this point.
I don't know what Pepe is like. What I do know is we're already there at that point in the cycle where I'm getting notifications from all my apps. This morning, the Binance added the bonk. This is what's going to be happening now. I'm sure Coinbase is probably going to become more liberal when it comes to their standards, considering the new lighter or more favorable regulatory environment, right? So I expect these to get added. And Louis has like an alert system where he tracks the ones that are being added to certain exchanges. That list is about to be super hot, JC, because it's like when stocks get added to the S&P 500, right? Like you just get a massive bid in these names whenever they get added to these big platforms.
Yeah. It's I would argue that these meme coins being added to the platforms is more bullish than a stock getting added to the S&P.
Okay, Dave, ticker symbol Dave.
Dave is having its best day I think ever.
Not Dave and Buster's. So I dropped this one in the research channel because we're going to start doing like earnings spotlights because my mind was just so blown as I was going through the fundamentals yesterday. This company trades at 2.5 times sales. It's growing its top line at 35% year over year. Just turned the corner in terms of profitability, free cash flow, just turned positive, right, on these key metrics. And look at the chart. This is one of the best stocks in the market since last year. Up like 10x, right? And now breaking out of a year-long consolidation. 18 times price to earnings multiple. Stock is dirt cheap. Growing like crazy. Just turned profitable. 21% short interest. 6 days to cover. So they knocked the cover off earnings yesterday. This is what I was talking about with Kenny. I bought this yesterday ahead of earnings. So I'm like, this company's so cheap. They've been beating earnings past couple of quarters now. So EBITDA approximately 25 million, significant improvement from the $2.5 million loss in the prior period. This is a 63% sequential increase. EBITDA margin is 27%, 41% year over year increase in revenue that just reported. So revenues coming in at 93 million. Growth was driven by a 23% increase in monthly transaction members. They're doing deals with a couple of the big banks. This is a digital banking app. It's actually really cool. I was cruising their website yesterday. They can help you like find, what do you call it? Like the gig economy, like part-time jobs, like earning $35 an hour, like a lot of cool stuff. Go check out their website, check out their homepage. It's interesting what they're doing, but it's all app-based from what I understand. Raised its full year 2024 revenue guide to a range of 340 million to 343 million. That would represent a continued growth rate of 31 to 32%. A lot of things are going well for
So this was a SPAC, and if you look at their earnings when they went public a couple years ago, they were losing anywhere from $1 to even $4 per share. That was 2 years ago now, and last quarter they made $1.50 per share. So they're profitable. They've gone from not profitable at all to slightly profitable to very profitable in the span of basically a year and change.
Yep. And we were a little bit late on this one, but this is one of those sweet spots, right? Where you can mix the chart, the technicals with the fundamentals. When you catch a company, dude, this was Palantir, this was Uber year and a half ago, right? When you catch a company that's completing just a textbook primary trend reversal and entering a new uptrend as it's turning the corner from like a growth phase to profitability, like these are some of the best setups. I absolutely love them. And that's what Dave is right now. Like I said, we're a quarter or two too late, right? Or late. I mean, I don't think you're too late. You got another couple 100% back to the old all-time highs. These are the names you want to be in, right? This is a speculative growth theme. And I think this corner of the market has been completely left for dead. The fact that a company with the fundamental metrics that like I'm shouting out right now is trading at 18 times earnings in this market right now with speculative growth index breaking out of like multi-year bases. These are the opportunities. Like these are the names that you want to be in. Look at something like an Appfolio, right? These high growth companies are absolutely crushing it. And somebody asked in the chat before, Coinbase 250 or 400 first. I think you see 400 first. I will be shocked. Coinbase is going to a place where their earnings power is going to go 10x. And I would be shocked if we filled this gap and buyers don't flood in. So 270, I don't think it goes south of 270.
I love the 21% short interest. I love that volatility compression. I mean, that's great. Throw that chart one more time. Can you talk about that volatility compression? Because I think people forget. I feel like people forget that from volatility compression comes expansion, and if you're long premium, that's where you make money. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, volatility mean reverts, right? It's different from what you see in the pane above it. Price is trend, volatility mean reverts. So when we get really tight, and then you could see it lining up with the chart, right? So the chart above, if you look at the price chart, we're in this nice little consolidation zone pretty much all year, right? It's called a little, or really a prolonged coil, okay? And then you look down at the volatility compressing, right? And constricting to a extreme low level, it's one of its lowest levels in years, and then popping higher. We just have a basic moving average crossover system on like a Bollinger bandwidth to measure volatility compression and then expansion. So what we know about volatility is as anything that mean reverts, it moves from phases of compression to expansion, and we're getting that pop right now. The hardest part about this type of analysis is simply picking the direction, right? So the indicator in the lower pane here tells me nothing about the direction. It tells me an expansion in volatility is coming. Then we have to look at the pane above to the price chart to try and determine and position ourselves for what is the likely direction that volatility occurs in. And what do? We lean into the short term, the intermediate term, and especially the primary or longer term trend. We're above VWAP here, breaking out of this massive base. This is the first continuation pattern after a textbook trend reversal. So all day we're going to expect that volatility to come in an upside momentum fashion. And that's exactly what you're getting here. The squeeze is totally on in this name right now.
It's a great combination, the high short interest, high short ratio, and volatility compression.
The way I learned it, Sean, is from compression comes expansion.
And vice versa?
Yeah.
We are doing our moving average mastermind this afternoon. We're going to be talking about moving averages. Very exciting. Spencer, for those people who are not going to be there, can you drop a link to where they can join us? Because moving averages can be very helpful. You're seeing some of these. Perhaps some of these moving averages might be anchored or volume weighted, perhaps. Not necessarily simple or exponential. See what I did there, Strazza?
I wouldn't buy Dave here today.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
I sold a bunch of my Palantir.
What?
I'm dropping the link to the mastermind with premium right now. This is week. What is this? Are we on week 6, JC? I don't even know.
We are. I believe
I'll
this is week 7.
I'll tell you what week we're
7
on.
of our 12-week mastermind.
Correct. You're officially halfway there.
It's been going pretty great so far, huh? I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it more than I thought. It's actually turning out to be way better than I thought too.
Yeah, I am too.
Strazza is going to do a deep dive on relative strength.
I don't know if there's enough time, bro.
So, I mean, there's so much relative strength out there. We could be there all night, right?
So much relative strength, so little time. You know?
No, I really like the educational stuff that we do because it makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside because Ralph Acampora has given me a lot of advice over the years, some of which took me longer to understand than others. And one of the things he always told me was to make sure that I was teaching, right? And the reason is because he says that it always brings you back to the basics. It always reminds you of the fundamentals that you may forget because you start getting more, sophisticated, and you start diving in and figuring yourself out over the decades, and you kind of forget the early stuff. And teaching this stuff brings you back. I gotta tell you, he was absolutely right. He was so right, dude. He was so right.
It helps us hone our craft and remember important lessons.
Yep.
Get busy and forget some important things over time.
Yep. Totally. He was absolutely right. When you got these idiots being like, well, if you're so good at this, why are you teaching a course? Why are you selling courses? People who think that way are stupid.
Yeah.
Why am I selling courses? I'm not selling courses. We did a course. Selfishly, it benefits me to teach the course. Ralph was absolutely right. He was absolutely right.
Shout out Ralph Acampora, one of my favorite.
Can we get him on the show, Spencer? Can we get him on the show so we can tell him that I'm listening to him?
I would love to.
So we could tell him how much we love him.
I feel like you know him. I don't know him.
You don't know Ralph? I feel like everybody knows Ralph.
Ralph would 100% come on the show. The fact that we haven't had him on yet is probably a disgrace. We should be embarrassed.
Spencer, what are you doing, man?
You shoot him a text or a tweet.
We'll do that.
Dude, he's like 100 years old. I don't think he texts.
Oh, he's not in the metaverse, you think?
He would come on.
I don't think he's in the metaverse.
All right.
All right, that's great. We could talk about, you guys want to talk about like the moon and stars and the Mars? Or should we actually, let's talk about how I sold Palantir first, because I love
go for it.
Piss everybody off. So we have rules here, right? Like we're not just throwing shit at the wall and trying to make money. So one thing that I use to measure when it's probably time to pay myself, and I also know because simply with a situation like Palantir, we bought this when the red line turned green. That's how we do this. We buy the primary trend reversal. So we've been in since about 12. So things go on, 5x? What happens to your account, all things equal, is one position gets a lot larger than all the others. And it starts to drive the performance of the entire account on a day-to-day basis. And you really don't want that unless you have super, super conviction that you want to own, 5 times more of this stock than all the others. So what do? I know it's time to ring the register on Palantir a little bit and right size it, make it the same size as everything else. How do I do that? I try to measure how extreme of an overbought condition it's at, right? How stretched is Palantir from its long-term mean, for example, which is what this chart is tracking. So 200-day moving average, and the lower pane shows the percentage that price is from the 200-day moving average. We have never been this extended in the history of Palantir. That to me said, okay, great place to ring the register, feed the ducks a bit, take some profits. It was a great trade, but it's not a great trade if you never get paid. So,
yeah. Are you one of these? It's not a loss until you book the loss. It's not a profit until you book the profit. How do you feel about this unrealized stuff that these communists want to tax?
You can't tax it, right, that way, but it should be accounted for that way. Right, so I believe
didn't we just have a lady that was running for the president of the United States?
Nobody, JC, come on, that was never like a thing. Okay,
it was never a thing. It
was only for people, dude. Stop. It was only for people with like a net worth of like $100 million or more. Okay, it was not for.
So then that makes it better.
You can't do it to those people, though. That's insane.
It doesn't matter. It's a moot point. It's a moot point.
Is it?
Yes.
You can't say things like that in this country, Spencer. This isn't Russia or
And
China.
it would have never passed in a gajillion billion years. So don't even worry about it.
And then do you think it's because she's too dumb to know that? Or does she think that her constituents are too dumb to know that?
Dude, I don't know. And I don't care.
So electric, big headline yesterday, right? Call it like it is. Tesla's rise is not due to performance, but the hope for corruption.
I mean,
Spencer had thoughts in the chat.
Yeah, my thoughts are actually kind of like JC's, which is like, okay, so, you know, I mean, that may be true. I mean, look, if you think Tesla's gone up in the last week and a half because of its like fundamentals, like you're insane, right?
Okay.
It's not the case. So yeah, there's really only one reason that's been rallying the last week, and that's because of the election, and it's because Elon is close to Trump, and that's perceived to be all good.
So I have a question about all this because this is crazy. So Elon invented this strategy just now. He's the first one to do this, to like buddy up with a president or a politician to try to benefit his business.
Probably in this
brand new move.
In this public of a manner, he's been so shameful about it. Shameless. Sorry, He's been shameless about it.
Could it also be that it's just a size thing? So he's just putting on bigger size because he's bigger than everybody else on this bet because he can. But we're going to treat him differently, like he's some sort of scumbag trying to mosey up to a politician to benefit his businesses. This is the oldest play in the book. But
I'm pretty sure they've been doing this for 250 years, right?
But Elon Musk can't do it. God forbid. Give me a break.
No one's saying he can't.
Friggin' break. I mean,
why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he do it?
Jeff Bezos never did it, right? Putting his head.
Yeah, I mean, typically it's not as public, right? That's the thing. But yeah, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. We have Mary here, by the way. Should I bring her on?
Bring her on. Bring on Mary. Let me just tell everybody, for those of you listening out there, Mary is crushing it. Every time I talk to Mary, she's just making money. Mary's just making it rain every day. Mary, take your victory lap. Tell the folks how much money you're making. Like, seriously.
No, don't tell us exactly. But.
No, it's been, I will tell you, the last week, I guess, week and a day or week and 2 days, I've made more money in the last week than ever before. So wow. It's been a great week. And it's still, I mean, it is still going. I mean, I'm having trouble selling some positions, but I recognize.
Throw us a couple of tickers that have done so well for you.
So I was telling you a couple of days ago about the micro strategies. I've been in that one. I've been building that position since I think spring of 23. So I'm just in the common. I just believed in Bitcoin that we would have the next bull market. Same with the miners.
What's that unrealized gain that they want to tax you on?
That's over 1,000% right now.
Over how much?
1,000%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done, Mary. Well done. Give us another ticker. What else?
So I've been in the miners too, Mara, Riot, those also from 23. I brought Hood to you guys back last February, I think. And so I've been holding on to that one. That's, of course, been doing really well. Of course, just holding S&P and Qs. Those have all been working well.
Sure.
SoFi, my more recent trades. SoFi has been great. Shopify on earnings yesterday. C Limited on earnings yesterday. Gosh, I'm in so much. And I think I said even right before the election, like I am all in. I had no money left to trade because I was just all in. And that was the gamble I took. It's paid off. And now it's about managing these positions, taking some off. Palantir, another big winner. Square, I brought that chart along with me today. That's been a winner for me here in the last couple of weeks too. It's just now it's managing, capturing and taking some of those gains, taking some off the table. Like what Steve was saying, now some of those positions like MicroStrategy has become a huge part of my portfolio and almost where now I'm starting to get anxiety. And so I need to start reducing that a little bit.
Any losers? Any losers, Mary? It's a great question Billy's asking.
Oh, yeah. So I got involved in a solar stock that has gone against me. I think we're just early on calling that. Same with China. I'm not down necessarily. It's just not doing much. And that was kind of the anti or the not Trump trade that
Right.
might surprise everyone in a few months. I think we might just be early on that. We'll know here. Give it some time to let them dance. So there are some positions, that I'm definitely down on. I mean, truth be known, I do own a pot stock that, of course, still it's at this point it's just I've kind of forgotten about it. So yes, there are definitely losers, but much more winners. And with the current state of the markets, it's just been a fun ride.
Yeah. Good for you, Mary.
Thank you.
Well done.
So
Well
I don't know, did we throw up the square chart? I
Throw it
brought
up.
this chart along. Yep. So square, I loved this. I've been burned on it a couple of different times over the last several months, but saw this great base. I know Kenny would call this like the Andy Dufresne, but
Sure.
it's been basing. You can see that kind of inverted head and shoulders, and so I was taking swings at this many times over the last couple of months. Most recently, when we gapped above that VWAP from the 24 highs, it's the lower VWAP there. We gapped above that one and I got involved again. And so my goal was to take it right up to the VWAP anchored from the highs. And right now we are trading right there as I'm looking at it live on a chart on my computer. So I'm going to be taking some off this one just because that was the goal, was to take it up to that high VWAP. But I love the base. I'm going to see kind of how it interacts now with this area. If we continue to see strength out of this name, if we start to move above that VWAP, I'll probably put some more back in because I mean, this looks to me like the trend is reversing, and based on market conditions, I would expect this to go higher. So that's one that I'm watching. Another one that I brought along, Salesforce. So this is kind of the opposite side of a great base, but this is at highs. This reminds me a lot of Amazon, which I'm in. Nice cup and handle if you want to be all cup and handly. And this is like I said, kind of in that same area of like an Amazon where we're just getting back to those highs and now we're breaking out. And so I think if the market's going to be strong here for the next few months, these all have a great runway to run.
That stock looks exactly like the software ETF IGV.
Yes.
Looks great.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not bearish for the overall market. That's one area of tech that does look good, while a lot of the other areas of tech have been struggling for a long time. That's software.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I heard Caleb was talking about that yesterday on the show, the IGV.
Yeah. All right, let's do a little recess. Get out of here. We got to get back to work. Hit it, Spencer.
I have something to say. It's important. I am so bearish HOAs. This stands for Homeowners Associations. Okay. This whole situation is absolutely insane. I'm going to tell a really quick story. We got new doors and windows. I picked out the sweet new door. It's got built-in blinds. We have a small kitchen. The cats will ruin the blinds. The house looks smaller when there's blinds. So I'm really excited we got the built-in blind situation going. Go to an HOA meeting last night to get the approval. 3 other people on my street have the same style door. The HOA members say, we don't like that style for your house. all the doors in your cul-de-sac are the same. It'll mess with the mojo there. I said, let me get this straight. They can have this door, but I can't. I already have the door. It's been delivered to my house, waiting to get put in. Ron DeSantis has, now lawyers have to get involved. It's a whole thing. Ron DeSantis is the man. He's passed some really cool legislation that basically says they can't stop you. Like if you're making an improvement, basically putting in a hurricane-proof door instead of like an old non-hurricane-proof door, or if your old door is damaged or something, if you're like bolstering the house, they can't stop you. So we're going to do it anyway. And I hope that more legislation like this gets passed in the future because HOAs are a serious problem in Florida. They're absolutely worthless. Let's get rid of them.
There was an article in the journal over the weekend about HOAs and how their prices the fees are going up and up and up and up and they can't stop it.
Dude, they're like mutual funds.
Yeah,
they're worthless. We don't need them, and they're just for old people.
I got to tell you, my HOA, I pay like $250 a year for someone.
That's amazing.
Because the money only goes to I think a security camera and like the flowers in the front of the neighborhood or something like that. So like it's nothing. And you know, they don't really break balls and they keep the neighborhood nice. Like it's, you know, I'm a fan of the HOA, so I'll take the other side of that.
It all depends.
I got yeah, it depends. So Spencer, here, if you want to drop the link, I will be making this today. This is the green bean with pancetta and mushroom recipe that Brian Lund was talking about. It actually looks excellent, and it's on the Perlman program.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's just green beans, mushrooms, sour cream, garlic,
Fresh garlic.
pancetta, fat. You know, it's great. Yeah, fresh garlic. Obviously, what am I?
The garlic, it's not from the jar.
You should be ashamed of yourself, Spencer.
Every time we use garlic now, we used it last night. Every time we do it, I like make a comment now about it.
Yeah, be like JC makes fun of me for
not
liking flavor.
Mary, what do you got? Mary made something.
Yep. So not on the Perlman program. I made apple crisp last night.
Oh.
So second to, of course, the Michigan cherries and cherry pie, which I know JC and Steve have now enjoyed, are apples. And so usually I take my kids to go apple picking, and so I always have a ton of apples. Not this year, not enough time. So I went down to the farmer's market, and the secret is to get a couple of different varieties of apples for the apple crisp. So you have 3 or 4 varieties in there. And so this is Grandma's recipe, and I made this last night. I mean, we're talking all the cinnamon. I mean, this is fall explosion in your mouth. All the cinnamon, all the brown sugar, all the butter, with the crumble on top. Yeah.
Mary,
Perfect.
This looks so good. I can smell it from here. You're making me so hungry. I need this recipe. I miss fall in Connecticut. Like we're lighting pumpkin candles. You know, I need this smell in my house right now.
Yeah,
the best.
I know.
As somebody who loves fall, this is the best fall that I can remember. I don't know that there's been a better fall.
It's too
It's been
warm.
so awesome.
It's too warm.
That's what's been so great up here in the north. It's been so warm, which has been fantastic for us because winter's too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So come on up to Michigan. I'll make the apple crisp.
All right, we're done. We got the hot corner at 1 for insider members. We got Mastermind at 4 for Mastermind and premium members. Strazza, you're recording and off the charts today with you got a good one today. I don't know if you realize Denise Scholl is on the podcast. So that's gonna be good. Yeah. And that's what we got. So thanks, Eric Balchunas. Thanks, Mary. Thanks, chat. We appreciate you as always. Smash the like. Go make some money. Someone made a comment yesterday that I should sing about what happens during the course of the show. I'm not going to do that.
No, we don't.
But thank you for your input. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Adios.
Bye, guys.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off.